Hello and welcome to this video about written multiplication. If you are someone who is using the grid method for multiplication at the moment, this video may not be for you. This is about taking the next step to use a formal written method. Firstly, to multiply any number by one digit, and then secondly, we will use the expanded method to multiply numbers by two digits, and then we'll condense that down and multiply numbers by two digits without expansion. There'll also be some multiplying by one digit and decimals in here too. Please remember, the video is quite pacey. You'll want to pause it, stop it, go away and have a go, come back, rewind. That's what it's here for. Before you try a written method, always consider, is there a mental method that you can use? So for example, we might have something like 7 times 6 or 3 times 4 where we know our times tables. There might be related facts like 30 times 40, where we know that's going to be 100 times bigger. There might be numbers that we're familiar with partitioning, so we could do 12 lots of 10 and 12 lots of 5 to work out what 12 lots of 15 were. We can also try partitioning in this example. We'll do 10 lots of 63 and 1 lot of 63, and then we put them back together to find our answer. And any number multiplied by 10 or 100 or 1,000, we use place value. So check that first. If none of those methods are going to help you out, then we'll look at a formal method of multiplication. And this solves any example where we want to do tens and ones times by ones. So any number multiplied by a one-digit number. As I say, ask yourself first, is it doable mentally? There's another example where to multiply by 4, we can double it again. That might not need a written method for you. It might be in this example that you could split up the 21 and the 20 and the 1 and do that mentally. But here's one that I would write down, 67 times 9. So we'll break it up. On the first row here, we're going to do 7 times 9, and we'll write that down in our brackets to be able to keep track of what we're doing. This is called the expanded method. Notice here that 60 must be written as 60, not 6. Once we're all set up like this, we can complete the calculations. 7 times 9, 63. 60 times 9, 54. No, it's not, is it? 10 times bigger. So we must make sure that we've got a 0 in that ones column because that's going to be 10 times bigger. We simply then add them up. Once you become comfortable with that step, you might not feel that you need to do the expansion section anymore. So this time, we're still going to do 7 times 9, but we're going to write it straight in our bottom row. And we're doing 60 times 9, adding that 60 on, and we've got 603. Both work. You need to choose the one that works best for you. Now this method can be applied to any multiplication by one-digit number. So here's a 3-digit by one-digit example. Same applies. For our expanded method, we'll start with 8 times 4. And then you can see we'll move to 40 times 4. Remember, it is 40, not 4. And then we'll do 300 times 4. We'll calculate each of those in their rows. Being careful with the place value there. And then we'll add them up to find the total. Remember, you can pause the video and try some of your own before moving on. If you don't feel you need that expanded method anymore, you can do the condensed formal method. As you can see here, our calculations are the same. This one was 4 times 4, or in fact 40 times 4. And then we've got 3 times 4, or in fact 300 times 4, haven't we? Same answer, just whichever method works for you. Now on this board, I'm going to complete a 5-digit number multiplied by a 1-digit number, which is perfectly doable with the same method. Again, step 1 is the expanded method. And all I would say about this is it is a little bit time consuming because we're writing out each of the calculations that we're doing. And some of them are quite large and it would be easy for our place value to get confused. However, it absolutely does work. So if you're more comfortable with the expanded method, that's completely fine. I would say by the time you get to 4 digits and 3 digits, ideally you'd be doing the condensed method as we're doing in step 2. You can see I've completed that one there, totally doable, but let's see how it looks without the expansion. Again, it's the same calculation, so 8 times 3 first, then 7 times 3, 4 times 3, of course that's 400 really, 6 times 3, and 3 times 3, adding on the carried numbers every time. We've got the same answer. That one was just a much speedier way of doing it. So once we get to bigger numbers, if you can do step 2, that's certainly the way to go. So we've so far learned, and remember, pause if you need to and go back and practice, we can multiply any number by 1 digit using those methods we just saw, either through step 1, the expanded method, or step 2. Can this be applied to decimals? Well, the answer is yes. Here's a decimal example. We are going to work this exactly the same. So I'm now doing 7 times 4, which is 28. Make sure I carry that decimal point down. 6 times 4, add the 2. 3 times 4, add the 2. And I've got my answer. So we can now multiply any number with a 1-digit number. And you should pause the video here and go away and practice that, because we're now moving on to multiplying any number with a 2-digit number. So 26 is in fact 20 and 6. So if we complete 183 times 20 and we complete 183 times 6 and then we put them back together, we'll have our answer. Now this is going to look a lot like the expanded method we were doing earlier with 1-digit numbers, in that we're going to break our 183 multiplication up, and first we're going to multiply everything by 6. I'm going to just ignore that 20 for a minute, which is why I've crossed through it. So 3 times 6 is 18, 8 times 6, add the 1 is 49, 1 times 6, add the 4, sorted. Now I'm doing 183 times 20. I'm not multiplying by 2, I'm multiplying by 20, so I've put that 0 in to move the place value along. I'm now ignoring the 6. 8 times 2, 1 times 2, add that one underneath, and now I'm adding them up. Now that was a very speedy look at that. You might want to rewind, you might want to try your own example, and then rewind and watch again. You might feel you don't need that expansion. Good luck.